huge list of updates today. We're just going around the horn while we've got some nice snow weather here at APBA Football Club headquarters. Where to begin? Well, let's start with the latest issue of Sports Sim Magazine. That is out now, another wonderfully packed edition. We have a little piece in there on our old card, 76 Buccaneers replay. Anthony Jacoby's in there. Anthony Crooks is in there. Eric Simon is in there. ST and Jen put out another great issue. Thank you, folks, for the opportunity. As always, grab that now. We've got our Chiefs jersey on, our Charlestown Chiefs here, in honor of the anniversary of the release of what is my favorite sports movie. That's probably sacrilege to a lot of folks. It's always been right up there. And Steve Carlson, number 17 here, is just reporting that he's got a year cancer-free, so that is fantastic news. We're going to talk a little bit about this Patrick Mahomes exceptional duty card that we're working on here, just another in our series of ways to try to add some color to the game, to some cards that are already deeply efficient. We talked about the Pat Mahomes card during our pre-Super Bowl panel discussion on what the 2022 APBA football season set might look like. What else? We are doing a lot of editing. Not only are we editing the finale of our 76 Bucks replay, which was epic, possibly the most epic game of APBA football I've ever played. Shockingly, it was one of those that you're just supposed to roll and be done with. No. The Creamsicles had other ideas. But we're also editing our old interview with John Turney. He and Nick Webster, of course, went back to all the game logs and the game film and created the unofficial sack record for the seasons 1960 and 1981. So we're putting that video together. Finally, we got some other ones in the works. We just interviewed Max Gemelli, who with his father created a game called Lords of Baseball, a very Euro style franchise history of baseball kind of game that we are a proud backer of, and that should be coming out next year. There are some late pledges still available, so we'll put the link in the description there. But we ended up talking about Max's work with the Video Game Club of America, and it's a fascinating discussion. This might be a three-part series depending on how we edit it, but wow, video games and board games, Max and his fellow teachers are putting together an incredible program, and we'll link to that as well. An incredible way to engage kids socially and on the tabletop. It was a real eye-opener, so do stay tuned for that. We've been bulking up our collection. Gee, what a surprise. And, I wasn't going to mention customer service because there is another channel, of course, has a customer service discussion in the works there. And, being on the APBA side of things, that's not a topic I really want to get into, even as positive as you make it. But I wasn't going to say anything about it until I got this little piece of paper from someone we just bought a nice collection of APBA football from. We got our 2014 season set finally. Speaking of brutally efficient quarterbacks and Mr. Tom Brady, vintage Tom Brady, but I just had to show this off in terms of customer service. Found this piece for the APBA football game you purchased, and it's the down marker, kind of that old APBA bowling purple marker, the pin marker kind of a thing. That's integrity, folks. That's integrity, and that's just community looking out for one another. In terms of video games, I've got to go back to Facebook. There was this interesting conversation that someone posted, and it's one of those bit of a hot button issue that folks wondered why it was being posted. Video games need to die. Now, apparently the creator is someone who used to run a gaming channel, and it's a little salty. It really talked about the annoying pay-to-play aspect of not just contemporary sports video games, but all contemporary video games, first-person shooters and all that kind of thing. And it really explores that unpleasant aspect of pay to play. You have to unlock certain features or characters in a given video game. So while some other folks were questioning why this was posted, I think it's a great look into possible opportunities for how traditional tabletop gaming, sports or otherwise. It's just we've got so many communities kind of circling around one another that this is why Max Gemelli's Lords of Baseball is really firmly in that Euro world with a sports theme, and I think it's a hugely important thing. And we always have to credit Philip Schwartzman for talking to us about his Sandlot Stars, and he's been active again, talking about the Euro style aspect of gaming, which is so wildly popular, and can the traditional tabletop sports gamers like us kind of work in those circles? Maybe it's just something that folks can find this crossover acceptability and at least make folks aware of one another, and maybe do a little work on behalf of companies that don't have big marketing budgets, just kind of be that ambassador and that emissary. We got APBA Baseball on the way, the Charlie Fouché tournament, Steve Ryan, APBA Hall of Famer. Man, another fantastic event, and the Greater Michigan is coming up. It's that season. This is the 10th year of that legendary summer of 2013, where all the APBA tournaments started to come online. Boy, Chicagoland, that first one, I'll never forget interviewing Doug Schuyler about that. And of course, we had our Canton tournament, and there was the second version of Chicagoland, the winter version, and you just see dozens and dozens of folks getting into the game of APBA baseball in a very strong, coordinated network. We're going to be at Cooperstown with some very close friends, wall-to-wall Hall of Famers there, and it's going to be some great content, I hope, that kind of filters out. Again, speaking of bridging gaming communities, I think that's going to be a huge deal. I don't plan to play, but I do have, if you've never seen these, some of the smaller box APBA Baseball. This is the 50th anniversary. I thought I'd pull this one out, and then also the 2000 edition Brown box. Right. So yes, we do have our collection in place, and we would like to see if I can't get a little bit of baseball ability in here. Maybe it was to grab a game here or there. I played it once or twice, and yeah, it's not hard. Certainly it'll be basic for me. And if you ever see this version around, just really cool. This is the first time I think I've probably opened this. This hasn't even been completely unshrink wrapped. So, and this is that era where you've got the divider cards for the teams, and you've got nice looking full color cards with the team logos. So I'm not sure which. Actually, I was thinking I was going to actually dig into our collection for the original '75 Reds and the Red Sox. Parents and I happened to be in Boston for that World Series, completely unawares, and couldn't find a hotel in Boston for that series. Shockingly enough, we ended up sleeping in our car in a parking lot. So, what else? But going back to this nice little game that we bought in terms of the football collection, this goes to paying attention to all the photos in a given auction. Grabbed a nice little the red box APBA football, and really interestingly enough, the seller who included a basic book and master book actually split the teams into two envelopes, which I thought was genius. You got a lot of cards there. So the 2014 season split into a separate pair of envelopes. So if you haven't done that, it's an interesting idea. You could split your offense and defense. I don't know if I would do that too often, but let's just see if we get any 4s or 5s in the oh, there you go, Evanson Griffin. There you go. So that's an idea. If you we know that with the great volume of APBA football cards, the envelopes tend to get a little strained there, but do check the auctions, because you never know, check all those photos. You can get some pretty good deals there. And this is when the game was redesigned So you get your 2013 copyright results book organized by field position. It's really well preserved set. I sure hope this person enjoyed it. But this talks a little bit about the differences in the college and pro game, the timing mechanisms. So we'll try to get this online. This person, see if we can find it here, had a nice, here we go. A nice job of kind of keying in some personal instructions and just on a couple pieces of paper here. Kind of shorthanded the game. So whoever did that, a great job. And just a little defensive coach sheet here and some codes on the back for, again, I guess, personal reference. So it's just always cool to see how folks preserve their games. Certainly bulking up. Speaking of Canton, get all your shakers. Tournament season, you need to stock up on your shakers and your boards and charts and all that good stuff. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, yes. The Paperboy. We did our massive unboxing of Scarface 1920. I'm still trying to recover from that, but here is the Paperboy character that we were missing because we have 2 copies of the game, and so this came in a separate box, and it is very tiny. We'll pull out an authentic newsroom pica pole here. You measure your type and your column inches and all that good stuff, and you can see that he's about 6 picas if you look at it, or an inch. 12 points of pica, 6 picas an inch. That is the Paperboy, and he comes with 3 little newspaper event cards. I believe this is one of those little Kickstarter extras, and just really cool little, you know. And very nicely, they put these together in a lot of different languages. So just smart and great little event cards. I'd love to see these. And basically, you could put newspapers in any game, I think. So these are the 3 that you get there. And he is a tiny, tiny fella. I say I don't remember if these were 3D printed, but there he is. There's your Paperboy. I never did have a paper route, but there he is in all his glory. And like I say, he's about an inch high, give or take. Good old newsroom technology, the old pica pole. All right, so let's talk about Patrick Mahomes, shall we? Oh man, the Magic Man himself. Look, you don't get much more brutal efficiency than this 2021 card here. Like I said, we talked about it in our pre-Super Bowl panel discussion. You look at his numbers here, very, very slight interception numbers, his scramble numbers. He's got the 3 Ks. He's got 8 2s, which is very different in the K column. He's got the 32, 132 in here in his P column for rare play. You got 1 sack number 29. You got a couple scramble numbers 26 to 27. You get kind of the weaker numbers 14, 15, 12, where you get some completions there. And his passing power numbers are 232 at 1133, 66. There's not much that you really need to do to make this a killer card. Speaking of that 2014 set we just acquired, and vintage Tom Brady by comparison, all right? And since we're talking about the second coming here and new legacy builder, Brady versus Mahomes, you see there's some distinction there. Let's just take a look at the 2013 basic book here. You look at the numbers, 20, 21, 22, not hugely detrimental there. It's really 23, 24, 25 where you get your bad interception numbers. Then you get your 32 where you've got some completions. Now, this is the basic chart. You don't have the rear plays, so it's basically just incompletion, injury, things like that. Compare that to the master charts. Let's just take a look here at, well, the long pass. Let's see what we got here. So again, if you look at, he's not going to be playing in the C index too terribly often there. So that's where your 20, 21, 22 can get you in trouble in the C index in terms of interceptions. But he's going to be in the A index pretty often. I mean, look at who he's throwing to just in the 2021 set. He's got, how often, if ever, is he going to be in the C index? So it's just brutally efficient. But I thought it would be interesting if you could add just a little extra flavor. And so what I did is and this is something we've been working on for years, kind of player specific and era specific cards. We did a Zonka card where he kind of targets the DB if he breaks into the secondary. We've worked on a Jack Lambert card. We've worked on coaching cards. We did the Madden. We've worked on perfect people eaters, things like that. Haven't completed all the special powers, but this really goes again to bridging communities and bridging game mechanics. You take a game like World Cup, and it's card-driven action. Card-driven games where you're playing with team attributes on cards, things like that. Yeah. So what we did here with this little Mahomes card is just to look at some of the dead spots in APBA football, like that pass result 18, 19, 20, something like that, where it's pretty much an incompletion. It's a dead play or a scramble. One of the two scramble numbers, 27, is the second of the two scramble numbers. So it's an X factor kind of card, basically. Now, Downey Games had an X factor. And in fact, Madden did this in 2020. They gave Mahomes these kinds of special benefits. Say if you completed X number of consecutive passes over 30 yards, you add some yardage to his outcomes overall. So again, you've got this card already. It's pretty killer. But to get a little more of that highlight reel stuff in the game, there's a very simple little mechanism here. It would even be triggered very rarely. First of all, again, you specify up here, say pass result. I use 15 because it's a jersey number, but I think just pass result number 20 would be fine because it's incomplete more often than not. Or if you hit that 27 scramble number, or if on a sack result, he's running out of bounds, that's where he's dangerous, where he looks like he's going to end the play and he's not going to do that. And if you're playing Master Game, again, that 32 here at 63 would be a rare play. So you can use that instead of you can use this card as a rare play and then just roll 2 to 12, right? And for instance, that 12 down there, 2.78% possibility of coming up, roll 2d6 for a scramble game. So I would roll it as APBA dice. And if it comes up 32 like that, then give him 32 yards. Now, this would be a head-to-head mechanism primarily, but you could do it solo play. If you're doing a one-off, you might even be able to do it through a whole season. I think it actually is dialed back enough that you're not going to trigger it too often. Apply it even odd, or apply it by quarter, first, second, or third, or fourth quarter, or overtime. Give him, a wider range of opportunity to kick this card into gear in the fourth quarter, or an overtime, or on a game-winning drive, potential game-winning drive. The storylines coming up next year, one of them has to be, how you possibly shut this man down? I don't know if he even can. Maybe that's a function of the rules of the game. Also didn't really want to wade in on that call at the end of the Super Bowl, but man, I mean, to be honest with you, being that it's the game has become a hybrid of football and basketball, maybe you should just be fouling on defense. It seems as though you can't cover these guys. It's not, you can't do enough to cover all these receivers. Not only are they just simply hyper skilled now at finding these gaps and these seams in the coverage, but you just can't. Even if you put in 9 defensive backs and just didn't rush, then you're going to leave Mahomes completely free to kill you with his feet. So I don't know what you do. Maybe since we're going into we're continuing down that path of basketball scores in the game of football on the gridiron, maybe you just go and foul these guys hard, foul the receivers hard, take the penalties, right? I don't know. That's why I don't talk sports in real life, just vintage gaming. But man, oh man, maybe you just go back to playing that kind of Atkinson Tatum pinball machine coverage down the field. And if these guys, if you can't stop them from catching the ball, and you can't stop Mahomes from completing these ungodly passes, maybe you should just foul these guys with pretty clear intent, take the penalties, give them the yardage anyway, and get the ball back quicker. Some Patrick Mahomes magic that you can create by simply getting this is just designed in Word, a little bit of color coding, and make it happen. You find the dead spots in the results charts. And if he's running out of bounds, for instance, on a scramble, then you use this card and see what happens. Again, it should be triggered minimally, so it's not going to skew your stats. And that's the danger of watching highlight films, is that you don't get the fullest perspective on the guy who's playing. But then again, he's just got all this talent that it seems like he's just a 60-minute highlight reel. And that danger is something you can capture pretty easily in the game of APBA. You just kind of tack that on and give it a shot. Let me know. We'll try to demo some of that in Canton. Maybe play a few quarters of, wild highlight film kind of material with these additional cards. Stay tuned for some cool videos coming up. Max Gemelli's interview, the John Turney sack statistic video, and our 76 Buccaneers finale. Wild stuff.